Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm live. I'm in the studio, which means you lot need to get involved in the chat and the comments. Loads of Manchester United stories to get through. First of all, though, first things first, obviously, we want to get to 750,000 subscribers. And we're almost there. We are 453 away, if my maths is right. Quick maths. So please, if you're not doing already, click on the subscribe link. Subscribe to the channel. And also, while you're at it, give us a like as well. And why not share the video as well? Let's do the whole hog. Loads of people in the comments already. Let's have a look. Mick Holohan, Akash K, morning Jay, morning. Akash K says, anyone interested in anyone... Sorry, let's try again. Interested in any more Bitcoin, Jay? Yeah, I got hacked on Twitter, and I think someone was trying to get people involved in crypto via my account. But thankfully, I've got it back now, so you can expect the usual tweets that you get from me banging on about how much I love Kobe Mainu. Dorian Wiley says, morning lads. Adam Bell, morning. S.I. Renz, morning. Bare Feet, morning. Loads of people saying morning to all of you. Should we start with a rumour? I'm going to call it a rumour because I don't think it's true, and I certainly hope it isn't. This is a story doing the rounds about Bruno Fernandes. You see it here by Jacob Leaks in the Mirror. It says, Man United transfer news. Bruno Fernandes offered, in inverted commas, to Barcelona as Casemiro closes on exit. Manchester United are set to undergo a major overhaul over the summer transfer window. Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro both taking steps to depart Old Trafford. Excuse me. I mean, Casemiro, yes, and I'm going to get to him in a minute. I can definitely see him leaving Old Trafford this summer. I don't think this move has worked out. I think he had a decent first season, and I think he's had a poor second one. I actually think the first season wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. There was a few games there where he wasn't quite at the races, but overall it was a good season. This season, or the second season, just not happened for him. One or two decent games. I think Forest away in the Cup he did quite well. Scored a goal and I think he got player of the match. But other than that, I mean, and some of the performances, Arsenal at home, Brentford I think at home, were woeful. And it's sad to see a player of the calibre of Casemiro sort of playing as badly as he has been. So I wouldn't be surprised if he moves on. There's talk of Saudi Arabian teams being interested in him. Bruno Fernandes is a bit of a funny one. You can see there, apparently he's been offered to Barcelona. I think he's slot straight into the Barcelona team. There was talk of Bayern Munich being interested in him. I think Bruno Fernandes could go to basically any team in the world if he wanted to. I think he's that good. You look at his numbers, look at the amount of chances he creates, the amount of big chances he creates as well, the amount of goals he scores and assists he gets, and the fact that he's one of those players who's never injured, covers every blade of grass, all that stuff. You can understand why he'd be in demand. I just think it would be an insane decision by Ineos to allow Bruno Fernandes to go. If that's one of your first moves in the transfer window, is to get rid of your best player, there's going to be uproar. Honestly, I can't see it happening, and I think if this is just his agent doing a bit of mischief making, then the club need to have a sit down with him and say what's going on here. It says here, you can see fresh reports from Spain now claim the midfielder has been directly offered to Barca by his own agents. Fernandes is said to believe that Barca's system suits him better under new boss Hansi Flick. I mean, it just feels very agent driven, this whole story. And I don't know what the move is. Is the agent actually trying to get him to go to Barcelona? We've heard that he's been offered to other clubs as well. Or is he trying to get him a better deal? I think his deal at the minute, Bruno Fernandes, runs to 2026. So he's got a couple of years left on him. He'll be 31 if my maths is right by the time that deal ends. Is his agent trying to get him a new deal? Is he saying, look, let's give him a deal now? I don't know. Let me know what you think. Get involved in the chat and the comments, because it's a bit of a weird one, this. Bruno Fernandes should be the last person we're talking about moving. I don't like the fact we're even chatting about it, to be honest with you. I don't think it will happen, but I don't even like the fact that there's this rumour and his agent is doing what he's doing. Let me know what you think. Jace Parker says, morning Jay, lovely to see you as per. Thanks, Jace Parker, always dead friendly. Thomas Cumberton says, look at Rashford, 1 good season out of 6 and we will keep him. I mean, this is completely different to Rashford unless I'm missing a part of the conversation you're having. Shay Delane says, should we offer Evans another contract to see out his career at United and possibly be part of the coaching staff in the future? Excuse me. I wouldn't mind seeing Johnny Evans be part of the coaching staff. I think he'd be a good player to have around, a good person to have around. He's obviously got the experience. He's won a lot of trophies. He's won 3 Premier Leagues. In terms of his playing ability, he's still got it. The issue with Johnny Evans is injuries are catching up with him, and that's an age thing as well. I think he barely played any games last season. He played some that he did quite well, but he missed a lot of games. And I think that's when you get older, and I speak from experience, obviously not at the top level. Just when you get older, it's harder to shake off injuries. So I don't know if you can give him a new contract as a player. Would that make sense? Is he going to be able to play that many games? Or if you had him as a player coach, at least that way you can go, well, look, if he doesn't play, it doesn't matter. He's still a coach. So, yeah, maybe I'm not against that idea, to be honest with you. I'd love to see Johnny Evans stay around. And I think a coaching role would be better. Richard Hawkins agrees. He said, I would give Johnny a contract, but as a coach. Glenn F says, I think he wants to know if Erik ten Hag is going, and if so, Bruno will go too. That would be a big statement, that, from Bruno Fernandes, wouldn't it? If Erik ten Hag left, he left with him. I mean, if you are going to get rid of the manager, you're going to get rid of the manager. I don't think your player saying, I'm going, if he's going, is going to stop you, but it would be a massive blow. I don't want Erik ten Hag to go anyway. If we lost Erik ten Hag and Bruno Fernandes in the same summer, I'd be gutted. Andrew says, we must move forward, forget about the Fergie era, build a new history. I'm not about forgetting about the Fergie era completely. I still like to think about it, but I get your point. Cultured Right Foot says, Barca can't afford anything. Anyone. They owe 130 million euros before the end of June. I imagine they will pull more levers, but they are muddied. Yeah, Barcelona were pulling loads of levers, weren't they, last summer to make transfers happen, and they did manage to make it happen. I don't think it would happen. I wonder if there was any sort of deal that could be made with De Jong. I doubt it though, and I wouldn't want to see it. I'd like to see Frankie De Jong come to Manchester United, but I wouldn't want to see Bruno Fernandes leave. Just wanted to think about. Let's talk about Casemiro and Amrabat. This is a bit of a weird one. Sofian Amrabat's brother adds to Man United confusion with comments on Casemiro's injury. So, Brazilian midfielder Casemiro's left out United's FA Cup lineup after huge confusion at Wembley, and it has now been claimed that he was in fact fit for the game. Yeah. So there was a little bit of confusion here. Sorry, scroll down a bit. I just want to read that bit there. It says the Brazilian midfielder was initially named on the bench for the Red Devils' 2-1 success at Wembley against City. Shortly before kick-off, though, he was taken off the team sheet in place of defender Willy Cambuala. Now, I saw this. I missed the bit where he was named. I just saw reports that he had been named and then it had been changed. So I saw the changed one. I saw the one with Cambuala on the bench. So I didn't think anything of it, and then I saw reports afterwards. I didn't see it till after the game that actually, initially, Casemiro was on the bench, but it was changed now. The manager, Erik ten Hag, said, he sort of alluded to the fact that he got injured, but Sofian Amrabat's brother, Nordin, has weighed in and claimed that in fact there was no injury. So he's saying it's not having it. On Dutch TV, the former Watford star says you can't just take out Casemiro, but he did at the end in the FA Cup final. He dropped out in the warm-up. He goes on to say, but he was not injured. He saw that he was not going to start. Then he thought, then I will sit in the stands. He was just fit. That was a choice. And despite his claim, Amrabat has now performed a U-turn and said that he made the suggestion without any inside knowledge. What? Taking to social media in the aftermath, he added, today during an interview on television, it was suggested that my brother only played in the cup final due to an injury in another player. My response to this was pure speculation, and my only motivation was to defend my brother who was on the field due to his own merit and hard work. My words have been taken out of context. There was no ill intention whatsoever, and to suggest another player chose not to play is wrong. I don't know what happened on the day, so let's move on from this non-story. I love it when people say, let's move on from this non-story that I've created. There wouldn't be a story if you'd have just said, oh yeah, it was great that my brother won the FA Cup and he had a great performance in the final, end of. But you're the one that said that Casemiro as basically down tools. I think it is a bit suspicious to me that Casemiro picked up this injury in the warm-up. And I wouldn't be surprised if he just thought, I don't fancy sitting on the bench for the FA Cup final. This could be my last game at top-level football. It could be my last game at Manchester United. We're up against City in an FA Cup final. It doesn't get much bigger than that. And I'm not feeling it. I don't know. I suppose you have to give him the benefit of the doubt if you don't know, but it does look a little bit suspicious. And with Casemiro, his heart's not looked in it for a little while. I mentioned the Arsenal game earlier. You saw how laboured he looked in that game. barely walking out of defence to play him onside for Trossard's goal. I mean, it's just not looked right at all for me. And I think that maybe he's a victim of his own success. When you've won 5 Champions Leagues at Real Madrid, and then you come to United and it's like, you know, your second season at United, 32 years old, and you're having to motivate yourself up for a battle for the Europa Conference places. Maybe it's not great. He should have been up for the FA Cup final, but then again, if he's not been picked and he's on the bench, he might have spat his dummy out. I don't know. I just feel that Casemiro needs to move on. Discombobulate says, imagine losing Bruno and Eric Ten Hag and getting Potter and Branthwaite. Ineos need to be very careful. Jason Wolf says, get Anthony to Benfica in a swap deal for Neves. Akash K says, family members should be banned from speaking to press about this kind of stuff. Only causes trouble. We've had this before, haven't we, with family members piping up. It happens quite a lot, actually. It's not just family members talking to the media. Sometimes it's family members on social media. I think Harry Maguire's family on social media have been quite active in the past. We know that Paul Pogba's, I think his family have spoken up. Obviously, they've all fell out now, but there was stuff going on there. So you've seen it in the past. I think Marcus Rashford's brothers spoken up on social media. I get it, because if that was my brother or my son or whatever, I'd be tempted to defend them or say things and stick up for them on social media or in an interview. But sometimes you think, is that serving your brother any good purpose? Is that helping them in any way? Or are you just causing dramas where you don't need to cause dramas? So I think in the case of the Amrabat one, it'd probably been better off not mentioning that, to be honest with you. And now you're saying, oh, well, it's a non-story, it's taken out of context. You didn't need to say it. You didn't need to say anything about that. You could have just praised your brother for his fantastic performance at Wembley, which is probably the best performance by a midfielder I've ever seen at Wembley. It was very good though, wasn't it? Tom Hutton says, can you guys do a part 2 of the keep or sell video where you add potential transfers to the players you've kept? Yes, we can, and we will. Adam says, Maguire's mum faceplant. Is it Maguire's mum who took that? Do you know what though? It's difficult, innit? That's what mums do, innit? They want to stick up for the sons. I understand it is hard, and I'd probably be the same. So it's easy for me to sit here and say, oh, you know what, you shouldn't do it. But if it's your family member getting trolled or whatever, I don't know. Joe Cross says, how can you say his heart isn't in it? Have you ever played pro football? Clearly not. If you don't know, then keep your opinions to yourself. I'm not going to keep my opinions to myself, bro. It'd probably make for a pretty poor channel if I just kept my opinions to myself. It was an opinion. I don't think you can look at those performances against the likes of Crystal Palace and Arsenal in particular and say that was a player that was highly motivated. You may disagree, and you're welcome to do so. Akash K says, new communications director been announced, Jay. Is that true? We can have a look at that. Can we have a little check on that? Make sure you're hitting like, please, people. Over 1,000 people watching, and we've yet to get to 200 likes. That is a disgrace. Andrew says, social media ruins United. I think it affects every club, but social media is particularly bad in terms of what happens with Manchester United. We always see some sort of issue, don't we, with social media, with the players' families. I mean, it just gets a little bit silly. Ellie, is that Ellie Norman? Have we found out about the? Have we got anything? Yeah. Can we share it or? Yeah. I think we've got something here. We're gonna let me know when it's ready to go. On the new communications director at Manchester United. I think we're going to have something up there in a minute. Jordan Clark says, any news on Bruno? We've covered that. Bruno, the latest news was that he's been offered to Barcelona. Feels a little bit to me like mischief making. There we go. Toby Craig, formerly of Manchester United City, formerly of Chelsea and Manchester City, will become Manchester United's new Chief Communications Officer. Craig will report to former City colleague Omar Barada when he joins United on the 13th of July, but will start his role on Wednesday. There's a picture of the chap. There you go. Toby Craig. He's going to be taking over as the new Director of Communications at Manchester United. So he's got a big job, so I mute that, ahead of him. And obviously he can start dealing with some of these, stories that are doing the rounds. Brennan Roberts says, Jay, do you feel that players aren't happy with either a lack of communication from the club and transparency, or people aren't being held to account Possibly. I don't know. It's weird because United are in this sort of transitional period at the minute, aren't we? Waiting for Omar Barada, I think, to fully start. We'll wait and see what happens with Dan Ashworth. You're obviously appointing people now, so there's a lot of changes going on at the club. So I think it is difficult, but we all, as fans, we have to be patient, and I suppose the players and staff have to be patient as well, because you do want to know what's going on. You want to know what's going on with the manager. You want to know what's going on with certain players and transfers and all that. But I mean, we only sort of last kicked a ball, less than 2 weeks ago. So I think we do need to sort of take a step back. I know it's easier said than done, and I'm the worst one in the world for being impatient. We want to know what's going on, but I think we do have to sort of just take a step back a little. Sam H says, Jay, we all want the best for United, but we need to allow Ten Hag time. I agree. I want to see Erik Ten Hag being given more time. Emmy says, any news on Man United UEFA slot? The latest reports were that United were going to be allowed to stay in the Europa League. That's the last thing I saw on that. I don't know if there's any update. We'll have a look, and if there is, we'll give you an update. Let's talk about potential incomings. This kid Inacio. I think we've got some a tweet here by Romano. Manchester United and Liverpool have both been monitoring Gonzalo Inacio ahead of the summer transfer window. His release clause is worth 60 million. United are still discussing internally how many centre-backs they want to bring in. For sure, at least one right-footed. You think we definitely want one. I think we need two centre-backs. We're going to lose Rafael Varane. Johnny Evans ain't getting any younger. You need two centre-backs. And I think we'll probably end up selling one. I think one of Lindelof or Maguire will probably leave. So I think we need two centre-backs coming in. I know we've got Willy Camboala coming up. I think the jury's still out on him, if we're being brutally honest. I like the kid, but we'll have to wait and see just whether he is ready or whether he's, as good as we hope he is. Certainly the signs are there. And then we'll... I think we still need to bring in a couple, yeah. So this is Inacio, 22 years old. His rating, I think this is from FOTMob, 7.25. I mean, obviously done very well. He's played 32 matches. You can see there. I mean, yeah, all the stats look pretty positive, don't they? I'm just sort of trying to quickly read everything that's going on there. So you can see there, successful passes, expected assists, accurate long balls, long ball accuracy. I mean, yeah, it's all green. That tends to be good, doesn't it? Eh? Green's sort of a positive thing, innit? Yeah? Can we agree? He looks good. I'm not going to pretend I know a lot about him, and I'm not going to sort of do some ham-fisted scouting report. But there you can see, yeah, nice. We've also got a Neves Bid story here as well. Benfica give Man United new asking price for João Neves. This is from Tony Mogan in the Metro, I think that is, and that's just been published about 2 hours ago. We can scroll up, can we have a look at that and get rid of all that nonsense in front of it. Benfica have rejected an opening offer of 51 million from Manchester United for midfielder João Neves. Right, so this is quite big then, isn't it? If this is true, we're making offers for players. João Neves apparently has a 100 million release clause, so we thought, I'll tell you what we'll do then, we'll bid 51 million for him. That'll get him. I mean, that makes zero sense. We spoke about Neves a lot over the last few weeks, or last few months, I should say. 19 years old, looks like a real top-tier player, absolutely brilliant. I think he can slot into that sort of number 6 role. Would seem ideal in our midfield, to be honest with you. You think of him and Manu alongside each other, that'd be a reek combination. But there was talk that he had a 100 million buyout clause. Now, according to the Metro, it's saying that we've made an offer of 51 million and it's been rejected. Says United have now tested the water with an opening bid of 60 million. Report, one that has been immediately rejected by Benfica. I don't know who Record are, we can find that out. Neves has a release clause, there you go, of 105 million written into his contract. So why we think we're going to get him for 51 million is beyond me. Because even if you weren't going to pay that 105 million, even though it's in his contract, to try and force Benfica's hand, you'd have to go pretty close to it, you'd think, wouldn't you? I don't think 51 million is going to get you a 19-year-old absolute wonder kid who's got a £105 million release clause in his contract. It seems, if it's true, and there's a big if here, it seems a bit foolhardy from Manchester United. I'm not too sure. Liam Harding says he's a €100 million buyout clause. They're saying 105 million. Akash K says it is Benfica here. We ain't getting anyone near Neves. Santa Notch has finally popped up. Hi Santa Notch, how we doing, brother? You good? let's have a... I mean, we'll want to keep an eye on. Just one final one as well. I think we've got Omari Forson has left Manchester United. Saw this from Fabrizio, I think this was last night. Set to leave Manchester United as a free agent in June. After his debut in February with Manchester United first team, Omari's set for a new chapter. There are several clubs already keen on signing Forson, as 19-year-old striker is attracting interest. It's a shame when a young player goes. He got a few games, didn't he? Not many. I think his sort of crowning moment in a United shirt was, didn't he assist mainly for the goal at Molineux for the winner? I think he might have done. He certainly had a hand in it. Looks like a decent player. Very early. Too early to tell whether he's going to make it at the top. I don't know whether it's his decision or the club's decision that they don't want to keep him on. But for whatever, we wish him well. I think it might be more down to him. Maybe looking to go and get some game time. But a decent player. We wish him well. And hopefully he's got a bright future ahead of him, because you always want youngsters to do well. Well, I say hopefully, unless he goes and signs for one of our rivals, in which case I hope he hasn't. I'm going to leave it there. We're going to be back later on. We've got more vids coming up, so make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. Come on, people. We want to get to 750 subscribers by the end of, I don't know, the end of this week. Come on. What's that? 448 to go, is it? Something like that. Thank you to everyone as well that got involved in the chat. It was a really good discussion today. Don't forget, if you've not done already, to hit like as well. I've been Jay Marty. This has been The Paper Talk. Thanks for watching.